So she's saying she hates all of her kids. Posted this voice over this video because I want you guys to know, I'm trying to prove a point that a lot of times the products that the woman is using can cause them to react certain ways, the food that they're eating, and also the pressures that are being put on a woman and women, children that are spoiled, used to being given and told and done everything for, usually grow up expecting that same behavior, expecting, instead of helping the parent, they end up just relying on the parent to do everything for them. Some kids, they learn to help while other kids just adapt to and get used to being cared for. That my ex-brother was like that. He acts crippled because he just literally allows, he used to work, but then there are times where he doesn't want to do anything for himself. And so when a lot of the pressure is being put on one woman, on just the mother, she's going to be frustrated. Not only that, you have to be a real man and see the products that these people are using are what's causing them to react a certain way. There are some lip glosses that don't work out. This is why you guys need to record everything, and you need to be sober so you can see what's being put in the product. People are not just getting paid off of just selling you anything. You have to detect to see if the product is what, the lip glosses especially, these are causing fights, arguments, the food, the meat, all that stuff that you guys are eating are causing drama and chaos in your household. You're not able to handle the household properly if you're not putting proper products with healthy ingredients on your body. So here it goes. She says she hates all her kids. And I don't blame her because she's been doing all the work. And if she sees that they're not helping and they're teaming up against her, she's going to hate them.
I kicked them all out, but this motherfucker don't want to leave. All of my kids. Every single one of them. That's why I kicked them all out, but this motherfucker don't want to leave. The fucking bum ass that talks all the shit. You want to call me a bitch in my house?
I disown you.
Put the camera right there on the food where I'm cooking.
I disown you.
I disown you.
You're not my mother no more.
I never want to be your mother. You need to.
Disown.
See, I burned the fucking pork chop. Cooking dinner.
For you.
For me, I don't eat pork chop first of all, so it ain't for me.
For you.
It ain't for me. What else? What else? I don't eat pork chop. Well, I fucking have a recipe going on my phone. Show that.
Such a great mom.
Who said I was? I hate all of you motherfuckers. Get that fucking clear.
Such a great mom. You have a recipe going on.
Another thing is that there are times where mothers are trying, that a man psychologically will feel like his mother is trying to steal his heart from his wife, from his partner. She could be telling him, I'm better. There are parents that have bad, psychological problems, like, I'm better and this and that. And the mother tries to, convince the son to stay with him and make the son fall in love. But it's not always a conscious thing. It's just a psychological thing that happens between mothers and sons. And so it's just a deal breaker right there. This is sort of what I was telling you about. I don't know how it is in this relationship, but how me and Zach started out is him being, my son, and me just basically taking care of him, and then him having special needs, and I nobody else was there for me to be there for him, so I had to be that person. I had to be the wife. But that's just the universe's way of telling you that your wife is plays the role of your mother. Not saying that that's your mother, but in the beginning of times that was basically the case, when there was not, we were all just procreating instead of living our lives and splitting into families and this and that. We were just building the universe and filling it with people, like God said, be fruitful and multiply. Once God made that command, there was nothing that could get in the way of that. It was either that or human beings go extinct. And also, so with that being said, he chose who he wanted to be with, and I had no choice but to surrender to my son, right? So those are all things that could be going on and in the background that you guys might not see when these family members fight. He could be telling his girl, she could be telling his girlfriend, you will never be with my son or something, and then all of a sudden the son turns on the mother because she's choosing the girlfriend. And sometimes it happens without him ever meeting the girl. But even in that choice, Jesus Christ said he came to separate mother from daughter, father from son, because he said there comes a time where a man has to leave his mother to go with his wife. And these fights usually happen. We don't want these fights to happen in order to separate, but these fights happen so you can go find your significant other and leave your parents alone.
You already made yourself look stupid.
I don't care. I hate all of you.
Y'all are gonna hate me for this. You know what I hear in the background? A mother cooking on the stove for her disrespectful motherfucking kid who called her out of her name. Let me tell you something right now. My mother's been dead 13 years today. 13 years ago today, October 13th, 2011. What I wouldn't do, just to have one more moment with her. One more moment. You're in your mother's kitchen, 17 years old, calling your mother a bitch? Just the thought of ever calling my mother a bitch. Just the thought. This sounds like an ungrateful, disrespectful little motherfucker. I'm on mom's side. It sounds like she's been dealing with some punk-ass kids who want to call her out her name in her own home. I hear a tired, stressed out single parent who's had enough. That's my take.
I want to remind you that children have the right to call their parents out. It's not what they do or what they say, it's how they do it. Just always remember that if you do things the proper way, you can have more problems resolved. Some parents don't want to resolve problems because they have so many unresolved issues that everything just comes out all at once. So take the wheel, try to help your mother for a change, start cooking. Parents are smart. And when they turn on cameras, there are times where they know how to, make it look like they're like, whenever my ex-birth mother, whenever I turned on cameras, she wouldn't act the same way she acts off camera. She would suddenly get into character, and I would watch this behavior and I'm like, you're lying, so recording them without their consent or without them knowing is the best way, because you get to see the real character of the person versus the character they try to put on when there is a camera. Or when they know they're being watched. Or when they know they're being watched. That's your take because you're only seeing one side of the story. But you don't know what she did to cause him to act that way. That's why I always tell kids to record every single parent, every single moment. The minute I started recording in my household, they wanted to beat me up. They kicked me out because... Hold on. I was exposing them for how they were mistreating me, and they thought that they could beat on me and do things to me and they wouldn't get held accountable for their actions. Parents think they can hit on kids, especially as adults. When you're a kid, you get spanked, but after a while, you have to learn how to talk to your kids. A lot of older parents and parents from the past, that come from different older generations, they don't know how to raise kids like new generations do. And not only that, new generations are not always perfect in how they raise kids. Not only that, how you raise your kids is how you treat yourself. It all goes by how you're treating yourself, how you're eating. Everything that you do is like how you really, like if the mother has to go to work, then she has to come home and cook. She doesn't have a husband. She's a single parent. Dinner is never ready, but whenever they come home, dinner is ready. They're expecting her to do all the work, so she's going to be overworked. And so she has to kick these kids out. Why are they not leaving? Because you've allowed them to feel comfortable and made them feel like they always have a place to come home to. So they're always going to come back, and you're always going to let them in because you believe that they're your kids. But a lot of times you have to stand your ground. But, I was always blessed that I was able to go home. But the reason why she opened the door was because I had the capability of getting away from her. You know what I mean? Usually when you get away, they're like, oh, this person is not clinging and relying on me. They're always willing to leave. When you're always willing to leave, they usually keep you, always say you can come back because they know you're going to leave eventually. You're just struggling. Right? So they use belts, they use beaten switches. All that is illegal activity. When you start putting switches, it's one thing to spank your kid with your hands. When you start putting your hands on your kids not your hands on your kids, and you start using weapons, switches, knives, anything like that, it becomes illegal and you become a threat to those kids' existence. Now, what the boy did wrong was, what he did right was record the entire session, but what he could have done was recorded what caused him to get into that position. Parents don't tell you everything. They don't tell you everything they do. And parents can be manipulative and they can be controlling. They also become rapists, child molesters. They molest their own children. So you have to be very careful and try to understand both sides of the stories before you get upset. You can't just judge one side of the story. You can't allow yourself to be triggered because you're a parent. When you see a man yelling like that, it's a man that lacks understanding. He lacks wisdom. He sees one side of the story and he judges the whole entire situation based off of that one side of the story. If you're going to investigate any cases or any situation, remember you're always dealing with a case even if you're not a police officer. There's a lot of help that they need as well in investigating cases and finding out criminal offenses, who killed who, why this boy killed his mother, why this mother killed his son. You hear her, she's saying she hates her kids. So if her kids turn out dead, that at least you know who possibly did it. But there's also a chance that kids can kill themselves and then end up blaming it on the last person that said they hated their kids. Because he can kill himself, and then nobody will know who did it. Nobody will know he did it, but they will look at the tape and say, "Hey, this," or somebody can hurt him and hear it, and then they can know that, hey, they'll just blame the mother. This is the last person you were with. You said you hated your kids, and then now you're a suspect, and they put people in prison for that. You get what I mean? So that's why I tell you guys, turn the cameras on. You have these parents, you have this family, you have to choose the celeb life over the regular life where people are doing everything off camera. You have to record these situations, and it is hard, but you have to get a hidden camera. This is in a court of law. You're going to need evidence to defend yourself. Most cases you will, but there are cases where some people can actually know the difference and know who's innocent and who's guilty just by voice, words, lie detector tests, all different things. So so there are different sides of the story. I don't like the way the guy was talking to his mother, but it sounds like his mother did something to him or could have done something to him that caused him to be that way. It's never just one side of the story. The parents usually raise their kids to behave the way they used to behave, the way if the parent is mistreating, sometimes spoiling kids also makes them bad like that. And like I said, these parents are also employees at home. They never have anybody to talk to. And so they get afraid of sharing their stories online because they don't want to get fired. This is unhealthy for employees. We need to be able to discuss these issues so employees can get better. And so that they don't bring their problems to work or take their problems out on customers, which is what happens to me a lot, it seems like.